Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well. We're just waiting for the last few people to join. I can see the number is still going up quite healthily there. So we're just going to give that another couple of minutes. If you do want to take this time, grab a drink, get comfy. This is by far the most complete demonstration you're going to see of docuware working in that purchase to pay environment. So I'm really excited to work with Callum and show you this today. But if you do want to grab a drink, now's a really good time to do so. We'll be back with you in the next kind of couple of minutes. See you shortly. Guys, for anyone who's just joined, I can still see those numbers going up really, really quickly. So we are going to give it just another 1 or 2 minutes just for everyone to join us today. Guys, it's definitely going to be worth the wait. This is by far the most complete demonstration of purchase to pay I've seen for quite a long time. So guys, it's definitely going to be worth the wait. But if you want to use this time to grab a drink and get comfortable, then please do so, and we'll be back with you within the next sort of minute or two. Okay then, guys, we can see those numbers starting to slow down now. So now's probably a good time for us to kick off. First things first, from me, thank you all for joining us today. We've had a really, really good response to today's webinar, and I can see there's quite a few of you on today's call. So thank you for joining us. This is going to be a really good demonstration for you. So hopefully it lives up to the expectations, which I know it will. So guys, first things first, brief introductions. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Andy. I'm the Regional Sales Director for docuware here in the UK. My role is to support our customers and our partners with gaining the very, very best from their docuware solutions. And of course, today's webinar makes a fundamental part of what we're trying to achieve there. I'm joined today by Callum, and Callum's from one of our premier partners, AO Group. AO are an international business supporting docuware clients globally with some of their most simple right the way through to their most complex workflow needs. And as you can see from Callum's introduction there, with over 13 years experience, he brings an awful lot of information to the table to support you moving forward. But probably enough of my brummy twang for today. Probably a really good time for me to pass over to Callum. So Callum, over to you, sir.
Perfect. Thanks, Andy. Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. In this webinar, we are going to run through a hypothetical scenario within a hypothetical business, showing a series of processes within the business. What we're going to cover is vendor relationship management. We're then going to cover an end-to-end purchase to pay scenario. Within those two processes, what we're going to show you is digital transformation, how key and how core this can be to amend a business and to change and move things to a more automated digital process. We're going to show streamlined approvals and workflows. We're going to show how you can mitigate risk, how you can show compliance to your auditors, and how ultimately you can, as a business, have the relevant data needed to be able to make informed decisions within your accounts department. If you stick around to the end, there will also be a keyword that I'll say at the end of the presentation. That keyword will entitle you as a business to 50% off of any of our pro services quotes. So whatever we quote to yourselves, you can take 50% off of that price should you be looking at moving forward. It will also entitle you to a 30-day complete no obligation trial of the process that we're about to show you today as well. So the first thing we're going to look at covering is the vendor relationship management. In this process, what we're going to show is we're going to show supplier onboarding. We're going to show that supplier application being received into the business. And then we're going to show within the accounts package, that supplier automatically created without any human interaction between the two, ready for us to invoice or receive accounting information against it. Let's jump into our docuware system. So the first thing we have within docuware is we have a new supplier form. This is a completely public web form that can be filled in, or you can deliver to your suppliers, that the supplier themselves can then fill in, so you as a business are receiving the correct information in the correct format, fully validated from the person that's submitting it. You're not having to sit there and do all of this work manually internally yourselves. So the first thing we're going to fill in at the top is the business contact. I'm going to fill in the company name, which in our demonstration is a company called International Steel. We've got the business type, and it's a tick box, and we can choose the relevant business type. The VAT number, company address, and all of the other relevant information that you'd expect to be capturing at this point in time from a supplier as they are running it through. Under the country, we've got a drop-down list. Now, what we're able to do here within the system is we can show different options based on selections on the form. So I'm going to choose United Kingdom, and then what you'll see later down is it now shows the account number and sort code, which is the relevant banking information for the United Kingdom. If I'd chosen another country, it would have shown then the relevant banking information for those countries. So what we can see is the forms are dynamic and allow us to make changes or show different data depending on other entries within the form itself. I'm just going to fill this in. Should have had this was one I made earlier. Ready? Into the banking details, account types, and again we've got drop down, so we can see here the flexibility and the availability that we give within the system to capturing that information. Accounting details. What I can now do here within the form is I can now ask the supplier to give me confirmation as a business that the information they have read is or have entered into this form is correct. So we can ask them to take a picture of their banking details on letterheaded paper. I could ask them to attach a document with them on in letterheaded details. I've got a kind of a full flexibility here of what I can ask them to do as we're running this through. So as it is, run that through. Further down now, and again, a super benefit of a process like this is we're able to get our suppliers or our potential suppliers to agree to our payment policy as a business. So here we're asking our supplier to agree to a payment terms of 30 days from month end of valid invoice receipt. I can agree to terms and conditions, and I can link out to third-party terms and conditions on our website should I wish. Once we're happy and everything's completed, they can fill that form in, click submit. The supplier is going to get a note telling them that the form has been submitted, and they're also going to get a note telling them that they'll receive an email soon stating that if accepted, they will know and they'll be onboarded as a valid supplier. If we now hop back into our docuware system, what I can see is internally within the business, we have now received a new supplier form into the business, and that has been kicked off as part of an approval or validation process within our organization. If I double click here, the new supplier form is going to open up on the right hand side, and it's going to show me all of the information that was filled in by that person as they were completing the supplier onboarding. Depending on our business process and the power of docuware is its customizability, I could here send this for approval and choose somebody within the business that I wanted to send this to for approval. As it is for this demonstration, I am going to approve this supplier onboarding. The system is showing me the validation step of the data that's in here. So I can check it, make sure it's correct versus what the supplier has submitted. As it is, instead of international steel, it should have been international steel. When I'm happy, click confirm. That supplier form has now left my task. It's been fully actioned. But what has also happened now is in the background, I'm using 0 for this demonstration, but there's no limit really in what docuware can connect to. I can see here, international steel within my accounts package are already set up as a valid customer directly with an integration between docuware and the 0 accounts package that I'm using for this demonstration. We can see here from the demonstration, all of the information that I just completed on this form has automatically been pulled in. If I look under the financial details, the bank account number, the sort code, the VAT number, everything that we just completed on that form has now been pulled into the system and is now validated live data in our accounts package, ready for us to use without any delays or any issues back and forward. Really, really simple. So as promised, what we've just shown is the ability to onboard the suppliers, the ability to approve those suppliers, and also the ability to integrate our docuware solution with the accounts package. Next in what we're going to demonstrate is the end-to-end purchase to pay solution. In this, we're going to show you PO creation, an approval of a purchase order. We're then going to show an invoice being received into the business. And we're then also finally going to show that invoice being posted to our accounts package as an invoice ready for payment within the system. So let's jump in again and take a look. So if I go to my forms, I've got my purchase request form. And here you can really see the flexibility and the power that docuware forms can provide to your business. On the top hand side now, we have the purchase request with the purchase request number automatically presented for us, ready for use. I can, from a drop-down list of all the supplier names, I can pick the supplier that is the relevant supplier for this purchase request. So I'm going to choose International Steel, the supplier we've just created. If the supplier has given me a quote reference, I could include it here. And then into the table. So within the table, what I'm able to do is we're able to choose from a drop-down list of all of the stock that we have available to be purchased from within a business. And we can get that stock list within docuware itself. So if you see here, if I run a search with my stock list, you'll see a list of the 4 items of stock we have available. Docuware also shows you an incredibly handy little image of the stock item as you're looking at it. What we can also see is the number of that item of stock that we have in stock, and below it, the amount that we either have incoming in orders or that we have outgoing through sales, depending on how we wanted to set the system up here. And again, we've got flexibility there in how we display that. If I go back to my form, I'm going to fill in 5 meter steel girder. I want to order 1,000 of those. The unit price is £320. And what you'll see automatically is the form is now tallying up all of my line items for me. So I'm not having to do any manual work or any manual calculations on this side of things as I'm running this through. I can start typing and the system will filter down the items as well. So the whole idea is we're making this as easy and as simple to use as possible. Freight costs, if we've got any delivery costs, I can then add them into here. And we can then obviously account for those separately within the accounts package should we need to. As it is, I'm going to put 0. If we had any delivery notes or items that we wanted to put onto the purchase order as well, I could put them into here. And again, they would be displayed onto the document as we needed them running through. As it is, I'm happy with everything here. Click submit. Once again, I'm going to get a pop-up telling me that the form has been submitted. And once again in the background, that is now going to kick off a dedicated business process to move this purchase request through our organization. If I now go back to docuware, what we'll see is under PO processing, I have a purchase request with me right now for approval. Within docuware, we have the ability to set up fully flexible approval matrices that support your business rules. These can be as simple or as complicated as you need as a business, and we can have different approval paths based on site, based on company, based on supplier. We have full flexibility here of how we control the approval and the movement of these documents through your business. If I jump back to our purchase order, double click and it's going to open up on the right hand side. Now, as an approver, I'm looking at this purchase order, I'm saying, great, but we forgot to order the bolts. We need to add some bolts to this purchase order. So I'm going to go to edit the purchase request. I'm going to add an additional line. Under that additional line, I want to order some bolts type 50B, and these bolts are £2.80 each. Click confirm. What's going to happen in the background now is the system is going to recheck the price of the purchase order. Now we've edited it, because if we've removed items, the purchase order could have been cheaper, which means it's now within our approval limits, which means it doesn't necessarily need approval again. So we're running validation checks against those purchase orders again now to see whether it needs approval. If we look on the right-hand side as well, what we can see is the purchase order has automatically completed. What we have added onto the purchase order itself is the additional line here, and all of the calculations have automatically taken place on this purchase order for all of the items that we're looking at ordering in this request. I'm now completely happy with this purchase order as an approver. I'm going to say all okay, click confirm, and my job as an approver has now finished. The purchase order itself can now be automatically delivered to the supplier, because if you remember from the supplier onboarding, we captured the email address here. So we're now able to automatically send that purchase order to the supplier, complete with the information or email, and the purchase order itself moves to awaiting receipt into the business. So the purchase order has been ordered, or the items have now been ordered. The purchase order is awaiting receipt now into our business. Obviously here, a day could have passed, a week, however long, the purchase order is going to sit here awaiting receiptal. Got three options here now presented to me to receive these goods into the business. I can purchase order, does what it says on the tin. I'm going to receive every single item on this purchase order in full into our business. So they're now ready in our list of stock for processing throughout the business. What we can also do is part receive. Now, when I part receive, what we can see on the right hand side is the system, or in the table, sorry, is the system is showing us the quantity ordered, the quantity remaining to be received against this order, and I've then got the option to say how many of each item I want to receive into our business. So on the line items, I'm going to say I want to receive 25 steel girders. I want to receive 100 10-meter girders. I want to receive 10 of the solar panels and 10 of the bolts. If I click confirm here, those goods are now automatically going to be received into our business in the background. The items in an accounts perspective are going to be now in stock, ready to be ordered against. But what we're also now able to do is the purchase order has come back to me, because it still needs full receipting. And now when I look under the part receivable, you'll see the quantity remaining has dropped versus the quantity that was ordered, because the system is keeping a full track of those stock levels versus what's been received or indeed ordered by the business. If for any reason the supplier now phones up and says we can't honor this order anymore, I have the ability here to cancel the remaining. If there was the requirement within the business to reverse receiptals, to say, oh yeah, we have received them. However, there was an issue. We need to reverse those out of stock. Again, that is completely possible, and the system is flexible enough to handle that within itself. As it is, I'm happy with this. I'm fully happy. I want to receive all of the items that are remaining. Click confirm. The purchase order now leaves the system, has fully processed, everything has been delivered on that purchase order, and that purchase order itself is now ready to be invoiced against. Incredibly simple process, incredibly intuitive process, and we're capturing absolutely everything there from a business perspective in terms of data that we could need for this purchase request to moving through the business at a later date. So now we come to the final part of the demonstration. The final part of the demonstration is obviously receiving that invoice into the business. docuware itself can connect to mailboxes. It can monitor folders. You can scan directly into docuware. There's a whole host of flexibility in how docuware works to allow you to process those or to get documents into the system. As it is in this demonstration, docuware has been set up to monitor a mailbox, and I can see here in my invoice processing document tray, I have an invoice that has arrived into my business. The docuware inbuilt AI has automatically read the invoice for me, and it has filled in, it's gone yellow, which means it's not 100% sure on this invoice and it needs me to take a look. If I click store and save invoice, what we'll see is the system has picked up all of the invoice information automatically for me based on the invoice on the right-hand side. To teach this system how to process these invoices is incredibly simple. We don't have to sit here and set template after template after template up. We don't have to sit here and type everything in. All we do is go to the invoice. You'll see where that international is highlighted yellow. If I left click, drag across the word international steel, let go of my mouse, you'll see the words international steel have been pulled in to the supplier name automatically for me in the background. We could have the same supplier, so I do here in my system with international steel, with multiple supplier codes. I've got one with INS 001 and I've got another one with a random long code here. As it is, it's the random long code I want to do here. So again, we've got the flexibility within the accounts package to have multiple suppliers with the same name and different codes, giving you as a business full flexibility on how you handle those. Next, moving down, I've got the document number. If you see on the invoice, the system has automatically highlighted to me where it has found that information on the document versus where it's pulled across. Under the PO number now, this again can be pulled from the invoice. As it is for the demonstration, I'm just going to type the number in. Moving further down, we can look at the line items, the values, and we can see all of the items and the values that have been pulled there. Into the line items, what you can see here is this system has automatically pulled these line items in. So we can see the system is able to do that. How do we teach the system? It's incredibly simple. If the table is empty, we highlight the first value for quantity and bring it into the field. That automatically moves us to the description. Again, I can left click and drag over this description. You'll see the description automatically gets pulled into there. Into the unit price, left click and drag over, and indeed the unit price gets pulled in. Now, instead of me having to do this for every single line of the invoice, all I do now is I click autofill table, and you will see here that docuware has automatically captured all of those lines and all of the data from the table for me and pulled the information into the table that's displayed. I can now check the information, confirm I'm happy with everything. As long as I am, click store. The invoice now leaves my in tray. I no longer need to process it here and has now moved into the pre-defined business process as required for our organization. Go to my tasks and I can see the invoice has come into my document validation checks. double click, the invoice opens up on the right hand side. And I can see here this invoice has failed validation. And the reason it has failed validation is because the supplier bank account details are different to the supplier bank account details that we hold on record for this supplier. These checks and this validation is incredibly important and really, really valuable for a business to ensure that we're processing and handling the correct invoices and not being subject to any fraudulent claims. I can click here to go and view my supplier, and I can see here, yes, you're right, this was actually the supplier bank account number. If I wanted to in the background, I could now kick off a business process where we need to go and validate that against the supplier. We need to get the supplier to fill in our new supplier form again. We could completely automate that if we wanted to. So I've got full flexibility here in what I wanted to do. As it is, I'm going to manually put the bank account number in, click confirm. The system is now going to go and run my further validation checks, check if there's any further issues with the invoice, and then it's going to move it into my invoice processing workflow for me to check and control the invoice for me. So my invoice has now gone away. It has now automatically tried to match against the purchase order that we said the invoice was relevant to. And the invoice has failed. Now it's failed for the right reason. So if I double click and open it up, what I can see is 4 of the lines have matched. I've got a check in the table telling me they've matched. However, 1 of the lines has failed. Now this line's failed because we didn't order it on the purchase order. Now, if I wanted to, I could amend this information. I could remove this line and then go and retry the match. If it was a quantity failure, the system would tell me. If it was a value failure, so if the supplier had invoiced for a greater value than what we'd purchase ordered, again, the system would tell me there as well. And with those, we are able, within docuware, to set up levels for the validation. E.g., we will, as a business, we accept a 1% difference in the value that we get invoiced versus the value that we PO, and the system will allow, or is flexible enough to allow those through. I'm happy with everything here. I'm going to click post to the accounts package. I don't want to amend and retry. I just want to post everything exactly as we display here to my accounts package. Click confirm. That invoice is now going to leave my tasks. I've done everything I needed to do with that invoice. And docuware has now gone and spoken with the accounts package and has passed my invoice across into that accounts package, ready for payment or ready for handling by the accounts package. So if I now go back to my Xero system, go to my activities, if I refresh this customer through, what you'll see now, under that customer, I now have a bill ready to pay. It's under status awaiting payment because it's fully approved. It's not within draft or anything like that within Xero. It knows it's awaiting payment. I can click, I can look at the invoice, and the invoice will show me all of the information here without having to go between the 2 packages. We've got uniform data and everything is as we would expect to see. If I want to see this invoice within docuware, again, I can set up a docuware connection so that docuware is able to go and see that information automatically with a click of a button, and then that would load the invoice to me without me having to go and search for it manually within docuware and everything on there. There we have it, a complete end-to-end process showing everything that we promised we would do at the start of the show, and showing how powerful docuware is within your business of controlling these accounts processes and moving those documents through your business while getting the relevant approval levels and capturing all of the relevant business information. As I mentioned at the start, there is the secret word. The secret word is Masterclass. So if you would like to get in contact and look at these processes, please do. My contact details are on the screen now. feel free to reach out. If you quote the word masterclass in that email, we will of course honour what we agreed at the start of this webinar as well. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. I'll hand back to Andy now for any questions that may have appeared, or if anyone has any questions or would like anything validated, please feel free to ask away now.
Thanks very much, Callum. I think it's going to be a case of when people come to you rather than if. But yeah, please don't forget to use that word masterclass. It is going to save you a few pounds on the way through. So yeah, please do take a note of Callum's email and reach out with anything. However, if you do have any questions today, please feel free to write them in. I can see quite a few questions coming in now, or at least a few questions. So let's have a look at some of those. So Anusha, yes, we will be recording the session today. In fact, it has been recorded. So yes, that can be made available afterwards. If you do just reach out to Callum using the email address that's on the screen, Callum will be able to arrange a copy of that recording for you. Second question, again, this was Anusha as well. Can the provider be restricted to only approve or not edit the PR? The approver will reject the PR and the creditor notified to amend the PR and resubmit for approval. And if you want to take that one, Callum.
Yeah, absolutely. In the demonstration, we give the approver the ability to amend those PRs. But yeah, absolutely. If you wanted to say, from a business process point of view, we want to reject this, that's gonna kind of notify the raiser that it's been rejected, and they have to amend the PR themselves. Yeah, 100%. That is absolutely possible within the system.
Next question. Thank you, guys. So, is this specific to Xero, or will it work with other finance systems as well?
No, not specific to Xero at all. We ran the demonstration in Xero just because, from a user perspective, Xero is incredibly visual, so you can see that information really clearly on the screen. docuware is able to integrate into pretty much any accounts package. docuware is fully flexible in how it integrates and is fully open with its integrations as well. As long as the accounts package lets us talk to it, we can absolutely 100% integrate into the accounts package. Wonderful. If you do have a different accounts package, feel free to reach out, and we'll obviously take a look at that as and when needed.
Wonderful. Next one, I've got someone here asking, they use one finance system but then use a different system to raise their POs. Does this mean that their POs and approvals can all be done in docuware and they will no longer need their PO system?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. You could get rid of the PO solution, run it all through in docuware. Not only are you getting the PO side of things, but you're also then getting your invoice approvals covered within the system without the need to have multiple different pieces of software doing that for you.
Probably worth noting as well, guys, that for lots of the PO systems I've seen out there, they can be quite expensive. So actually, for the cost that you're already spending, you may well be able to implement masses more than you're currently getting. So perhaps an extra value for money conversation to be had there as well. One more question I've got here. Oh, I think what they're asking about is Smart Connect, Callum. So they're asking about the connection that you mentioned between the finance system to then search for the invoice again.
Okay. Yeah, so docuware has what's an application called Smart Connect. Smart Connect allows docuware to go and search, or to run a hotkey search from any software. So it doesn't have to be the accounts package. It could be an email itself. You could be on the internet. It could be absolutely anywhere. When you press a key combination, by pressing that key combination, docuware will go and use the value that you've highlighted to go and search within docuware to find whatever it is you're looking for. It's a really, really flexible feature and makes docuware kind of accessible from wherever you are in your PC without the need to have clunky software installed, or without the need to be going back and searching to find documents within the system over and over again.
Thanks very much. John, I think you must be straight after my own heart, to be fair. The question is about whether we can do all of these things mobile, so not on a computer, but using mobile phones and tablets. That's absolutely one for me as well. I use my mobile phone more than any other piece of equipment. But Callum, over to you. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. docuware has the docuware mobile app, which can be installed onto any iOS or Android device. You can fully approve within there. We can have the forms set up on the mobiles as well for filling in. So yeah, absolutely everything that I showed on the demonstration today is possible on a mobile itself.
And I guess we may have just covered off Anusha's question as well, because she's also written, do you have a docuware mobile app to accommodate this process? So I guess we've probably just answered that one as well. So guys, I think that does bring us to the end of our questions. We will be sticking around for an extra few minutes. So if you do have any other questions you want to get answered, then feel free to drop them into the box. Then we will go ahead and cover them. Failing that, of course, please do reach out to Callum. His email address is still on the screen, so please do go ahead and reach out to Callum. He'll be more than happy to chat through the options available to you. Now, of course, bear in mind what we've shown today is, in my opinion, one of the most complete purchase to pay demonstrations I've seen for quite some time. However, we are just giving you a guideline there. So bear in mind, we're not saying that this has to be how it is, and Callum and the team would be more than happy to chat through your business needs and set something up that's personal and perfect for your environment. So as I say, guys, we will be here for the next few minutes. Please don't hesitate to pop your questions in the box, or failing that, please do make a note of Callum's email address and reach out to him. And equally, again, just to reiterate Anusha's point earlier, if you do want a copy of the video and the recording of today's webinar, then again, please do reach out to Callum and he will make those arrangements for you. Okay, guys, I can see people leaving, so we are now down to the last couple of people. So I'm presuming there are no further questions to come. However, just to reiterate again, Callum, thank you so much for the presentation today. Really, really good introduction to the solution. Callum has left his email on the screen there, so please don't hesitate to reach out to Callum with any questions you may have. However, for the purpose of today, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and we will look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon. Have a great day now, guys. Take care.